begin with the challenge of you have to emotionally wrap this up, and also it's the end of the film?
That is a really interesting question, and I said, if someone's I'm not going to say a great question because everybody says that these days. But it actually is. That was a hugely, it wasn't contentious, but there was a huge amount of discussion between Lenny and Nathan and I about that. That, I think it was only in the mix. That piece was actually decided on. We had two pieces. I always felt, my opinion was that was always too emotional at the end. And Lenny and Nathan and Ed Guiney, I remember, were involved. Ed was the producer, Nathan was the editor. And like, I was wrong, but I was. It's really important because it's the collaborative process and how it works. I just, it's relevant to this, but I'm going to go back to the reunion when Bree meets Jack when they get out for the first time. I remember watching that over and over again. It's the only scene in the whole film that moved me. I remember watching it all the time, and I felt at the time that, how do I write for that? Do I write to express my emotion here because I have kids, and the idea of seeing your child again when you think maybe they're gone or whatever. And I used to get quite choked up. I had to watch it hundreds of times, and it never really lost its power. And I had to really, really work hard to pull back from that, to not write, but be careful not to pull back too far because I'm afraid of how do I estimate. So that's where Lenny and Nathan and Ed and Lenny and Nathan would come in and say, no, it's too much or whatever. In this one, we actually moved that forward so that the kind of swell comes on when they hold hands. Because even there, it's slightly tied up as to how this is going. When the strings come in, before she actually says or mouths Byron, the film's over in a way. Once that music comes in, you feel the film is over. And it's just very interesting to see. I haven't watched it or listened to it for a few years, so it's quite interesting to hear it there. There was 2 or 3 pieces that were vying for that.
That moment where he says, like, we knew that it was incredibly powerful, just that idea of her mouthing, like, it's such a silly thing the child is doing, and then he asks her to do it, and actually it's meaningful when she does it. I mean, it's very sentimental in a way, but the feeling was that the film sort of earned that, and it was earnest and not sort of manipulative. But exactly where that first swell comes, which the first little rise happens as Jake walks past and says, "May I say goodbye to Room," and it preempts the goodbye Room. We tried that in so many different ways, and shifting that by a couple of seconds either way, like in the mix, we have some control over the stem, so you can keep strings out and have other instruments take that role, and every single version made the film different. And eventually you just have to decide on the one that, you know, that's the hard thing, but you have to decide, and you have to sort of live with that then forever.
I mean, that's the thing that it tells you about directing. Sometimes the decisions are fun, and sometimes the decisions
Absolutely.
are agonizing.
And sometimes, you know, sometimes it is required that somebody makes a decision on the day, on set, for example. And you must make that decision. And if you're uncertain about that decision, if there's time to play, it's totally valid to say, you know what, there's something in this that I'm not completely sure of. And everybody gets excited if they trust you, and they don't think it's just general incompetence. They trust the process of you going, I want to keep knocking on this and see if we can find something better. But there is a point at which you have to decide, and then it's pure indulgence to sort of model your uncertainty. If you have to make a decision, you make that decision, and any uncertainty you have, you sort of have to keep it to yourself, because nobody else wants to carry it. You know, it's not fair. So I find that whole business of when you have to sort of say that's over is something it takes a while to sort of get used to, because it's so, you know, that's what filmmaking on the day, particularly of the shoot, when you're shooting, is that odd thing of having to try and be creative, but on an absolutely strict timeline.
Sure. Between you two, Stephen, do you find yourself like fighting your corner a lot, or are you deferent to Mr. Director?
No, well, I suppose because I've been friends for so long, the idea of being deferent to Mr. Director. It's just complete anatomy. No, in all seriousness, look, it's at a stage where you're trying to do a very professional job. Trying to do a very, very professional job, and there will be times when you will be annoyed if something was rejected or didn't seem to be work. But you know, we've been doing it long enough to trust each other. And if I say to Len that I really think there's something in this, I know that Len will trust me and say, look, I don't see it. And eventually, I think we often arrive at the the right things. But it is my job, it's my role to help Len make the film.
Sure.
Len is the person who gets the credit, it's his film. But similarly, he'll get the blame. And no, but it's, again, it's that thing that's really important. My job is to provide him with ideas that he can then choose and think, this helps, that helps, I think this is working. And because we are both really interested in film and have been around each other for so long, and I see myself as a filmmaker rather than as a composer, in a way. I know it sounds a bit strange, but that's my interest is with the film. It's not with my music. And obviously it's nice if people recognise that, but it isn't about the music, it's about the overall film. If my music helps to convey what the emotion is supposed to be or what lens, or sometimes it has to work against it, sometimes it has to be a character, sometimes it has to not be noticed. It has to act in different ways.
But that is the thing, that it's about the filmmaking process. It's about the film itself. And the same reason why it wouldn't have been ultimately appropriate to get a band from the world to be the band in the film is that wouldn't have been like integrating the music entirely into the film, And Stephen's right, like, I don't want I'm never interested in working with people who aren't prepared to challenge, because that's where the good stuff happens. And if somebody says to me, or if Stephen said to me, I feel really strongly about this piece, then my attempt is to understand, like I would make a huge effort to understand what it is and see it the way he's seeing it, and then, but eventually you have to decide, like that's the sort of good thing and the bad thing about the job.